Greetings to everybody. I am Dr. Mukund, Sabnis, Director of 𝐊𝐮𝐼𝐬 𝐁𝐢𝐬 and Director of 𝐊𝐮𝐼𝐬 Analytical Services, the organization which is devoted for the analysis and development of the herbal medicines. So today we are going to speak about something about the pain management and pain management through Ayurveda. We have seen that since antiquity, since the development of aspirin, the pain management has been developed in modern medicine in a very systematic manner. A very good prostaglandin inhibitors, very good leukotriene inhibitors has been developed. But they are working in a certain matrix and they exert certain untoward effects which are known to everybody, which can be a gastropathy or which can be a nephropathy also. So there are certain limitations for the use of such type of medicines. When we look towards Ayurveda and when we practice it in our day-to-day life, there are certain very, very important herbal medicines which can work to have a good effect on pain management, and pains may be coming from arthritis or may be coming from the nerves. It can be neuropathy, it can be arthropathy also, and such pains can be managed very nicely without giving any painkillers to the patients. So these medicines which are coming from the herbs, they have different mode of action. They exert their activity in a very different way, and these are the ways which are very, very natural. That is very important of these medicines. Means certain phytochemicals, they are present itself in the body of certain herbs. Certain herbal phytochemicals, specifically I will be talking about cannabis. So certain endocannabinoids are also there, which body itself secretes without taking these medicines. So there is a system in the body for these medicines, and this system works not only for the pain management, but it also works for the cognitive management also. So these are, cannabis has been used since antiquity. Means even we can see the reference from Charak Samhita about cannabis in certain disorders. Bhau has very routinely used cannabis sativa in the medicines for relieving pain, for relieving hemorrhoidal pain, or for certain disorders like loose motions or diarrhea. All these medicines they are because it has a grahi activity. It is ushna and tikshna. These type of medicines are used very nicely in Ayurvedic preparations. They are singly used, or they are used in certain formulations also. So when we look towards cannabis and pain, which is said to be the fifth vital sign, and this pain has been mentioned very nicely as in perception, feeling, sensation, and an unpleasant sensory and emotional experience associated with actual or potential tissue damage or described in terms of such damages. So this pain anyway, which has been explained by the American Pain Society, this is to be relieved. The end result what the patient wants, that the pain is to be relieved. He doesn't know whether we are giving prostaglandin inhibitors, we are giving leukotriene inhibitors, or we are giving any other medicines, but the pain should be relieved. But when the physician is working, his angle looking towards the patient that the drug should be safety, and there is a lot of safety when we are using cannabis-like medicines, and which has been advocated by Ayurveda since antiquity. So when we talk about pain, 30% of the population have some or other form of pain. And prevalence of chronic pain in Indian adult population is around about 20%. So the most common cause are maybe joint pains, maybe cervical lumbar pains, maybe neuropathies. So all such type of pains, even they can be covered with certain type of herbs, and cannabis plays a very, very important role into this pain. When a pain is developed, the most important part is there are certain chemicals, there are certain proteins which are secreted, and those proteins may be interleukin 1b, they can be tumor necrosis factor alpha, they can be bradykinin, so they can be prostaglandin E2. So certain, these are all proteins which are secreted by the pains, and that pain can be relieved by a certain mechanism of action given by cannabis sativa or cannabidiol. So they work through maybe certain different type of receptors, and these mode of actions play a very important role when we talk about cannabis sativa. So there are many research papers which have been presented into the national and international peer-reviewed journals regarding cannabis sativa, and it has been seen that cannabis sativa plays a very important role in relieving pain. So there are certain papers that review of concept of pain and its management and Ayurveda approach. So why this Ayurveda approach is very important? We know that there are cannabidiol which work with endocannabidol system. They work synergistically. Then also the Ayurveda approach is very important. If you look towards the property of cannabis sativa explored by Ayurveda, this property they have mentioned that it is ushna and it is tikshna. So this property of hotness has been identified very correctly, and the receptor for this hotness has also been identified very correctly by modern researchers, and then we can explore that cannabis sativa can work through different type of receptors. These different type of receptors play a very major role into developing the pain killing activity or pain relieving activity of cannabis sativa. Apart from that, cannabis sativa is used as it exerts the property of deepana, it exerts the property of pachana, it is very light for the digestion, it is sedative in activity, and it is known to pacify the kapha dosha very nicely. So it increases pitta, it is what we call as pungent or in taste. It is also bitter in taste. So this ushna, tikshna, bitter tasted. Why this property is elaborated by Ayurveda people is important, because if we see the mode of action of this bhanga, then we can easily identify that bhanga, it works through certain receptors, and these receptors, they are all what we can call as, depending on the cell membrane, they are working through GPCR receptors, they are working through ion gated receptors, or it works through the enzymes. So when we see that, if we look towards the bhanga, then there are different type of cannabinoids. So certain are endocannabinoids, that is brain derived, that is mainly anandamide. Second is the phytocannabinoids, that is plant derived, and number of cannabinoids, nearly 400 has been identified. And these are cannabidiol, which is normally called as CBD, which works specifically for pain. And second is tetrahydrocannabinol, which is called as THC, which works for the cognitive functions. So these are the main two cannabinoids which are plant derived. Certain are endocannabinoids, which are derived or they are from the endogenous system of the body, and the third are the synthetic cannabinoids, which are called as dronabinol or nabilol. So these all types of cannabinoids are available. We will be talking about the cannabidol which are getting from plant source, and mainly cannabidol, that is CBD. So this CBD, it has a synergistic activity with the endogenous system. So the different compounds found in the cannabis work together to enhance or modify the effect of each other, resulting in more significant impact of the body's endocannabinoid system, that is DCS. So when different cannabinoids and terpenes are combined, they may work together or enhance each other's activity, to have a more significant beneficial activity than an alone cannabinoids. So, for example, some studies have suggested that CBD may reduce some of the psychoactive effect of THC, while THC may enhance pain-relieving property of the cannabinoids. So, these are the synergistic activities which play a very important role, and these phytocannabinoids and the cannabinoids coming from the plant origin, they work together. The cannabinoids and the phytocannabinoids, they work together and they work on the neurotransmitters, and there are receptors on the there are a number of receptors all over the body. The receptors are there for cannabinoids. Specifically, there are postsynaptic receptors are there, and these postsynaptic receptors, they will get fixed into the cannabinoids get fixed into the receptors, and the phytocannabinoids and the endocannabinoids both bind to cannabinoid receptor sites in the body. Number of sites are there all over the body, and the THC that is there, they are related with the CB1 of the phytocannabinoids on the receptor, which are related with brain, lungs, vascular system, muscles, gastrointestinal tract, reproductive organs, and the other one is CB2, which is related with the what we call the immune system. Maybe it may be spleen, it may be blood, it may be blood cells, so bone marrow. So here immune system gets also involved, and here it is important because the peripheral nerves are related with the with this kind of TB2, CB2. So these phytocannabinoids interact with the ECS receptors throughout the body, particularly CB1 and CB2 receptors. These receptors are the signaling pathway for pain perception. So if we go to the multimodal action, so we can see that GPCR receptors, they also which are situated on the cell membrane, they also accept they also accept cannabidiol. Then enzymes and the ion channels which are present in on the cell membrane. The most important, what I feel as through the Ayurvedic perspective, are the TRP1 ion channel, and this is a very important channel when we think about the local applications of cannabis sativa. The peculiarity of this receptor, which is a cell membrane receptor that is called as vanillite receptors, and this receptor is highly sensitive to those herbs which are hot in their temperament. And GPCR receptors are also receptors which are sensitive to bitter taste which is present in cannabis sativa. So there are certain extra gustatory taste receptors which work for cannabis sativa, and through TRPV1, that is vanillite receptors, and then there is a desensitization of the pain by activation of such receptors. So these receptors mainly, they also have an impact on 5-HT1A serotonin receptor activation, and then there is what we can call as it reduces pain signal transmission, then it inhibits pain sensation and increases pain tolerance. So all these three activities through number of different, it is not even only isolated as a molecule. So all these phytocannabinol, they have different receptors on the body, but specifically when we talk about the local application, it reduces pain signal transmission by activation of 5-HT1A. Then it has an inhibiting effect of inhibits pain sensation and increases the pain tolerance. All these three activities can be given at a single given time. So the what we can call as the calming effect can be received by the local application of cannabis sativa. So this kind of cannabis sativa has been used by many companies, but I think Gufic is a product of Gufic International. And this Gufic oil, which is again processed along with certain what we can call as medium chain triglycerides to get its more solubility, because basically these cannabinoids are not water soluble, they're hydrophobic, and to minimize this effect of hydrophobic and get it more hydrophilic, or it can get dissolved into the its activity like lipophilic activity. These activities can be enhanced by the processing which has been made with this cannabis sativa. So this Gufic oil, it is in a oil-based formulation. The dosage form is for the local application in the form of oil, and this oil is to be applied wherever there is a pain originating from the nerves as well as joints. So here neuropathies can be what we can call as targeted, as well as spondylopathys can be targeted, or arthropathies can be targeted. All these three things can be targeted very nicely with the cannabis sativa. If you see the absorption of this oil, transdermal cannabinoid delivery is challenging, but cannabinoids are hydrophobic molecules which prevents from easily diffusing through the aqueous layer of the skin. Thus, it is processed with the medium chain triglycerides. That's very important. So the stratum corneum layer of the skin presents a significant barrier for the absorption of the drugs. So penetration enhancers have evolved to improve this absorption, and this penetration enhancers is in the form of the medium chain triglycerides, which is used in the Gufic oil. So the rate of penetration of Gufic oil is very nice due to its penetration enhancers, and these activities have been studied very nicely by many researchers all over the world. So I suggest that Gufic oil is one of the best product what I am using, but many people in my territory are using very successfully, which has 3% of cannabis sativa, 5% of Ecliptus globulus, and 2% of Mentha arborescens, which makes this combination a very perfect combination for all types of pains for the humankind. Thank you very much.